Hi everyone. My name is Christian Jameson, and I just want to talk to you guys about studying abroad in Japan. I know it's a big goal for most people, especially growing up in our age in our time where anime is extremely popular. I've been raised on anime my entire life. I lived in New York my entire life, so the influence all the way from Japan to reach me in New York, and how much of an impact that anime has had on me. It really speaks volumes to the art form and just how influential Japan is as a country on the world. But yes, just to go over, I'm going over my study abroad experience for 4.5 months from September 2025 all the way to January 2026. I lived in Japan for about 4.5 months. And I was blessed to have that opportunity through many avenues, a lot of dedication, hard work, and tears, to get me to where I was able to go. And I'm kind of here to just help you guys kind of make it a little bit more digestible. So you will have the opportunity to travel abroad as well. And if anybody has a specific goal to travel to Japan, they will be able to do so. So just starting off with my first slide, I have here studying abroad in Japan became one of the most memorable and transformative experiences of my college journey, which it very much did. It's taught me a lot about myself, and it's helped me reset myself in so many ways and just make me so confident when you experience something so different from your norm and you get through it and you survive it kind of teaches you that the normal day-to-day struggles that you're used to are really kind of minuscule in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, this presentation shares how I prepared, what I've learned, the challenges I faced, and how resources like Benjamin A. Gilman International Scholarship can help make international education possible. So I know a lot of things pop up in people's mind when they hear study abroad. The first thing might be unaffordable, but hopefully throughout the slides, I can kind of prepare you and teach you ways that you can make a dream come true, and then kind of give you a little bit more information on the Gilman scholarship that allowed me to study abroad. Okay, so to go into our why visit Japan specifically. It's a location that I visited. I had an absolute blast. It was scary, exciting, anxiety all in one. It was a lot going through my mind, but it was a dream that I always knew I wanted to do and I wanted to accomplish. And I didn't know the exact time span when, but once I got closer to college and I realized study abroad was an option, I knew from my freshman year at my original college that I had to do that. That was something I had to do eventually somewhere down the line, but that had to be incorporated into my college journey, which thankfully I was blessed to be able to do and experience and kind of sit here and talk to you guys now about how that affected me and maybe how you guys can even do something like that in the future. Um, so just to kind of make sure my audio is good too, don't want to be going too crazy. Um, why visit Japan? Studying abroad is more than just traveling. It's living and learning in another country that provides opportunities and experiences for to experience a new culture firsthand, develop independence, build global awareness, and create memories that extend beyond the classroom, which I very much did. There's nothing like if you're trying to learn a language. Now, do I know Japanese from traveling there and living there for 4.5 months? Absolutely not. But did it challenge me and my mind and um my thought process in every single way? Yes. Every single day was a learning moment. Every single day was an opportunity to learn. And I know you can pretty much go on autopilot when you've been living in one place for so long. So that's something that was definitely new. And it kind of felt like, I don't want to say living for the first time, but almost like you were a baby. You were a baby all over again because you were dropped in a place where you kind of knew nothing about and you only had small references. Even as we can see in the photo, we have small references like Burger King or certain restaurants or companies that kind of gave you some familiarity. Excuse me. I have something going on with my mouth. Um, of home, but other than that, it was a complete new experience. Um, Japan offered an opportunity to experience a culture, education system in a way a way of life completely different from my own. I wanted an experience that would challenge me academically while also pushing me to become more independent, adaptable, and culturally aware, which, as I said again, that very much did. You know, a lot of times when you're studying abroad, this is kind of your first time leaving home and not living with your parents and not living with your family every day. So it can very much be a scary experience when you built up that trust and that ecosystem in your household that you know you can kind of rely on in times of need. With studying abroad, it kind of forces you out of that nest where you have to be aware and understand what you need as a person and your daily responsibilities, and nobody really um keeps up to date with you on that other than you. Going over there with laundry, grocery shopping, food, cooking, making sure your place is cleaned up, making sure you're getting to your classes, making sure you're also taking time to explore and live in the moment and live in the country. That kind of all comes your responsibility, compared to when you're kind of home, you're able to kind of navigate through so many people. Where here it's a brand new slate and it's something you kind of have to take on. And I don't say that to scare you, but I say that in a way of brand new beginnings and a new outlook. This is something that is going to change you. And the way it changes you is however much energy you put into it and how much of an open mind that you have while you're along that journey. um but yeah, to kind of sum this slide up as well, just to end it off, I studied abroad in Japan through CIEE. That was a third party program that I worked with personally, that also worked with my school, to allow me to study abroad for 4.5 months in Tokyo, Japan. And they CIEE, I'll speak shortly on them. They were a great program. I really appreciated their guidance and how simple they were, and how they laid out everything I needed step by step, and the communication that I got from them was amazing. You know, they're a little on the pricey side, but for the experience that I had, I definitely would recommend it. You know, there's nothing like having, just how I was speaking about earlier, that ecosystem. You kind of get a piece of that when you go through a third party program that is so amazing and helpful, like CIE. So I definitely recommend kind of researching those, and we'll get more into those a little later on. But yeah, visit Japan. It could be food, culture, anime, entertainment, anything like that. Everybody has their own reasonings, but I think Japan is just an overall really, really cool place that everybody should one day visit. Now before you go, I have some, tips and things that you should kind of, keep in mind as well. This is me in front of the Nintendo Tokyo, which is a great place that you guys ought to visit. It's, if you love anything about Nintendo or video games or any type of media like that, Persona, Godzilla, Monster Hunter, Pokemon, that Tokyo Center of Nintendo is a place that you must visit. But preparing for study abroad, a successful study abroad experience begins long before boarding the plane, which it very much does. Researching programs, understanding academic requirements, preparing important documents, and learning about the host country can make the transition significantly easier. And just to kind of speak on that, big thing, it does not start on a plane. It starts about a year or two out, and you setting yourself up academically and just a proper timeline. So you should be making sure that you have a great GPA. I definitely would say at least a 3.0 GPA. Higher is always going to be better. It's always going to help you, but at least a 3.0. A lot of scholarships and a lot of these programs require a high GPA in order to give assistance. So the better that you're doing in school from the jump, the much easier it will be to gain access to funds or just opportunities in general. So make sure you're staying on top of your classes. If anything else, make sure that GPA is high, just because, we're not here for study abroad. We're here for school. We're here to get our education and our degree so that we can get our career and take care of ourselves. So definitely make sure that GPA is as high as it can be. Understanding the academic requirements. You're going to be leaving for minimum 2 to 4 weeks and maximum up to a year. Some people study abroad for an entire year. So kind of you have to sit down and really plan how that affects your college career, how that affects your degree and your credits, and how long it will take for you guys to graduate. So definitely sit down and plan that and thoroughly go through that with your what I have, I'm in a CUNY school and a CUNY system in New York. So that would be degree works and seeing what I need to graduate. But whatever your school uses to that kind of calculate how far along are you in your degree, you need to plan around that. And what classes you may be able to take over in Japan to kind of transfer over so you have a seamless transition. um Preparing documents, make sure you have your passport. When you eventually find your program, they'll kind of help you along the way of getting your stamps and your student visa, and so many different documents. I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but there's a bazillion documents that you need, of course, to live in a country, especially a country across the world as far as it is. And a place like Japan, it requires a lot of documents. So make sure you're always in communication with your coordinator from your program, and just your study abroad advisor. Your study abroad advisor is going to be your best friend while you're still in your home country. They'll be able to be your first line of communication to kind of help you with any questions, concerns, or just being like that middleman between you and the program if you need that help. Also, just helping you find a couple scholarships as well. They'll be able to help you. So definitely utilize your study abroad advisor on campus. I think that my study abroad, shout out to Daniel, was just amazing help. He works at John Jay. He's a study abroad advisor. He helped me so much, just kind of turn that dream into a reality. So definitely you utilize your study abroad advisor and just learn more about your country and where you're going. The more you know, the more prepared you are, because you're already going to be a tourist. You're already going to be a foreigner. The more information you have and you're prepared to kind of adjust and adapt, the easier that transition would be. Another big thing is academics. Research available courses before choosing a program, compare them with degree requirements, speak with an academic advisor, and determine how credits will transfer before leaving whenever possible. This is a big thing that I would kind of wish I did and put more research into. Sometimes when you're taking courses from a different college, especially in a different country with a lot of different requirements and curriculum, sometimes those classes that you're used to taking won't translate back to your university, your home university, as you think. So definitely speak with your study abroad advisor, speak with your program on how you're going to be getting your transcript back, and kind of doing a little bit more research with the classes that are available from the university that you would be attending, so you can alert your study abroad advisors and stuff ahead of time so they can let you know how some of these classes may translate. And definitely be speaking to your major advisor so they can also assist you in kind of guiding you where you should be taking classes and what classes you should be taking to kind of stay on track for your degree. Preparation, as I said, some of those documents is going to be passports, travel documents, emergency contacts, medications. I have high blood pressure, so I take a medication that I had to get a form for as well. I can't pronounce it, and it's the UU something. I'm so sorry that I cannot remember off the top of my head, but I did have to fill out a form which your which your program may alert you of if you do have any medical conditions or any treatments that you have to take. There will be a form to fill that out. Banking access, making sure all your banking apps are set up. I opened up a complete debit card just so I can be able to use that in Japan without any foreign transaction fees when pulling money. And the card that I used was Charles Schwab. I believe you need a brokerage account set up with them, and then that allows you to open a checking account with them to then open and get a debit card. I definitely recommend Charles Schwab. My entire experience over there, I was able to pull money out of ATMs and they refund the ATM fees, and there's no foreign transaction fees. So definitely make sure you're setting up yourself for financial success while you are abroad and understanding what you require, what you need. So yeah, you have money out there to buy trinkets and anything else that may come to mind, because you're definitely going to buy a lot of stuff. Phone service is a big thing. Your regular phone service and provider usually does not usually does not allow international, like, calls and things for free. I mean, there are plans, so definitely if you have AT&T, T-Mobile, anything like that, definitely contact them and check out their international plans. Sometimes it can be expensive, but I did have friends over there using their home providers with just an international plans, and sometimes it was affordable for them. What I did though was I used something called Mobile, which is a company that provides eSIMs and SIM cards that for a certain amount of data that you pay each month. I think I paid for like 10 to 20 gigabytes, and it was like 30 to $40, and that allowed me to use maps, that allowed me to have internet connection when you're traveling, and use apps, maps, anything that you may need for your phone that you normally use in day-to-day life at home. Definitely look into that. And then copies of important documents, is make sure you have copies in case you lose anything, so you're not kind of stranded with that. Cultural research, as I said before, learn basic customs, etiquette, transportation systems, laws, expectations of the country. Being visited, being informed helps students become respectful guests and more confident travelers. It definitely does. We all have access to the internet. I definitely, if this is such a thing that you definitely want to commit to and do, you're probably already doing it by researching TikToks, YouTube videos. I know I watched a million TikToks and YouTube videos about what not to do, what to do, where to go, not to speak somewhere, don't throw out trash here, a lot of things like that. Sometimes it can get a little overwhelming, but there's definitely some hidden gems of things you should know. Like with Japan, there's no talking on the train. Like on the train, it's dead silent. It allows people to kind of sleep with their hour commute to get a little bit more rest, and it's just overall more respectful while people are doing work or just relaxing. So that's a big one. There's no talking on the train unless it's a weekend where everybody kind of unwinds and is going out for drinks and partying, but other than that, throughout the work week, there's no talking on the train. So that's a big thing that I remember seeing even before I went to Japan. That's an example of something you should like keep in mind. But just moving on, iconic landmarks, a couple iconic landmarks that I do have. Kinkakuji, the Golden Pavilion. It's a famous Zen Buddhist temple covered in gold leaves and surrounded by a beautiful Japanese garden. I got to go there. It's in Kyoto. Kyoto is a beautiful place. It's much slower than Tokyo and Osaka, much slower, much calmer. I don't even want to say slower. It's much calmer than those two. It's a lot of bamboo forest, as you can even see here. I got to meet, I don't know what you would exactly call him, but I don't know if it's a monk, but he was just standing there playing music, and it was amazing. It was so relaxing being able to walk through the bamboo forest and then eventually seeing the golden shrine. It kind of just left me in awe and breathless. So these are the bamboo forest and the Kinkakuji Golden Pavilion. If you're in Kyoto, I definitely recommend checking them out. I believe you have to pay a fee. I think I remember, but it was relatively cheap. I believe maybe $5 at most. Relatively cheap, and a great experience. Definitely visit the Tokyo Tower. There's another tower, there's another tower deeper in Tokyo that's, I believe, even taller than this that I got to see. I wasn't able to get the photo as well because it was on a different device, but definitely just explore, look up some spots like on TikTok and things like that, and travel and visit even some low-key places that you don't see on the internet or that doesn't have the most likes. Like really traveling, and especially to Japan, it's the journey that you make it. Sometimes go off the beaten path, and you may find things that nobody's recorded yet, and it's just an amazing experience, like a hidden alleyway with a ramen shop with such rich history. You never know with Japan, and that's kind of the thrill of it. Another place, Himeji Castle, Japan's most beautiful traditional castle. This is actually in Osaka. Got to travel and see this in Osaka firsthand. It's extremely high up. It's huge. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's surrounded by water. So it was a great experience to be able to go there and see that with friends, take pictures, and kind of just walk around Osaka. Some Japanese culture and traditions. We have tea ceremonies. We were able to, with CIE, we was able to actually dress in kimonos and kind of travel to a traditional tea ceremony where they allowed us to make teas with them, and we were able to drink teas while listening to a band. I don't know the proper name of the band, but it was beautiful music, and you was able to sit out kind of on this porch area where there was almost like a Zen garden and listen to music and drink tea. So a great experience. Also temples and spiritual traditions. Definitely want to visit temples. I enjoyed going to temples, even though some people may not be as spiritual. I still think it's just a very interesting place to go because it has so much culture and history. So if you are just so interested in seeing another country's traditions, history, culture, what they believe in, I still think temples are a great place to visit. And then just respectful etiquette, bowing, removing shoes, clean habits, just really be spatially aware. That's the biggest tip I can give you. A lot of times Japanese people won't speak up. So sometimes you could be irritating people, or you could be disrupting an environment and you don't know because nobody speaks up directly. So a big tip is be aware of your surroundings and who you are affecting. I know in America it's really easy to be loud, be all over the place, take up a space, but in Japan that is looked down upon and that is considered disrespectful. So just always be spatially aware. Budgeting, a big thing for budgeting. Studying abroad requires planning for much more than tuition and airfare. A realistic budget should include everyday living expenses as well as unexpected costs. So you got food, you got any trinkets, anything you want to buy, generally anything that you think you would want, budget for that. That also incorporates, your program cost and what they cover. And then that can help you kind of incorporate a better budget so you understand what you truly have to pay for. But just some things to plan for. You have your programs costs. As I said before, you have your housing, flights, food, transportation, phone, data, entertainment, shopping, travel, and emergencies. Definitely emergencies. And we're going to tap on a big emergency that I had to deal with. That most don't. And I think I almost like made a record for how this happened in the emergency that I had. But definitely be prepared for this section. This really helps if you have this budgeted. I knew that I wanted to study abroad, but I did not end up saving until much later and much closer to the date that I was. I definitely recommend saving up as early as possible. Save up as soon as you think you want to go, and as soon as you think you got the opportunity and you're starting to speak with the study abroad advisor and they're kind of starting to set you up, immediately start putting money away. I'm telling you, trust me, the more money that you have away, the better this experience it will be. There's nothing like being halfway through your program and running out of money and having to kind of just penny pinch to get by. You want to still be able to have abundance. You want to still be able to take trips and travel. So start saving now. It's one of my biggest tips. Having a weekly budget, creating a weekly spending limit makes it easier to enjoy the experience without spending too much quickly. That's a big thing too. As soon as we got there, me and my friends, or the people that was in my program that eventually became my friends, as soon as we got there, we started traveling around. We started buying things 2-3 weeks in before school started. And by the time school started, we kind of had to slow down because we still had 4 months to get through. So definitely create a weekly budget and kind of pace yourself. There's a lot to be seen. There's a lot to buy. You don't kind of want to buy all in one section. Really buy something that really resonates with you and that you truly like. Try to avoid buying too much at once. Always have an emergency fund. Always keep emergency money separate from everyday spending and have more than one way to access these funds. So definitely that goes on your finances as well. If you have multiple cards, multiple bank accounts, if you have a wallet, your Apple Pay, just make sure that if anything does happen, that you are not losing the only way to kind of survive. You're going to make sure you have multiple access points to your finances. And a tip, remember, I know we spoke about earlier how studying abroad can be relatively expensive and out of reach for most people, but a big thing is that people forget is scholarships and financial aid can make studying abroad much more attainable than it initially appears. So they have scholarships all the time. Check your clubs, your organizations, your study abroad events. There's so many free opportunities that are missed and overlooked, but that can pay for a lifetime experience. So a big thing is, keeping that in mind and looking and leaving no stone unturned. Another big thing, useful apps that I do recommend. I recommend, Google Maps. Google Maps was a big thing. Japan is humongous. There's millions of streets, millions of places to go. And navigating the train system and can be daunting. I come from, and I live in New York. So in the States, we have probably the best transportation in the entire country. It was completely different. I was even bamboozled by how difficult the train system was at first and how much you have to kind of learn. So definitely recommend using Google Maps. It breaks down the exact track, the color, the number, the cart that you're supposed to get in, the path that you exactly need to take. So it's helped me do numerous day trips. Definitely recommend Google Maps. XE currency. XE currency is a currency conversion app. It kind of converts it from any of your home country's currency to Japan's currency, so yen. So if you're seeing big numbers and you're like, okay, how much is that? Like, how much am I truly spending? I definitely recommend using XE. I used it multitude of times while I was in places and kind of like needed to know a price without going broke. So definitely recommend downloading that on your phone so you just readily understand what things cost and how much you're truly spending. SmartX, this is definitely something if you want to travel the country that you should have downloaded. It's useful for researching and reserving eligible Shinkansen bullet train trips when traveling between cities. So this just allows you to see future train tickets and trips and times and kind of book that online. So it saves you a lot of time of running around the train station and buying a ticket right before the train comes. The vending machines where you can get your suikas or refund or refill your suikas, they're little train booths. Basically, if you know from New York, like the MTA, you stick your Metro card in, you add funds. That kind of has like the same system, but it's a lot more options. But it can be a little daunting to guide, especially when it's even in Japanese. So there is an English option, but it's a lot duller. So definitely something I would keep in mind. This app just makes it a little bit more seamless. Here I am with my friend here, Kobe, which is where I said before we got to use get in our kimonos, which is a super cool experience, and travel around. But experiences you can only get by being there. Onsens, hot springs, that was a big thing. Has some of the best hot springs in the entire world, so definitely recommend giving that a try. It's a big tradition for Japan for their onsens to be so popular. So I would definitely recommend giving that a try if you get the chance. Anime and manga districts, this is what a lot of people come for. This is what influences a lot of people. So that's going to be Akihabara and Ikebukuro. Those are really, really popular districts where they are basically the main hub for all anime, gaming, tech related things, which basically encompass everything that I am. I love tech, I love anime, and that's kind of why I went to Japan. So I spent a lot of money and time here, and it was amazing. There's 12 story buildings of just each floor being something different of different technology, game experience. So and then there's hundreds of buildings on one street. So you can definitely get lost there. I definitely recommend checking out those districts if that is something you're interested in. And again, riding the Shinkansen bullet train between countries, sorry, between major cities. The Shinkansen definitely it replaces basically the plane. So instead of how we travel domestically in the U.S. by planes, the Shinkansen can basically get anywhere throughout the country and sometimes even quicker than a plane and cheaper. So definitely recommend checking out the Shinkansen if you wanted to hit up multiple major cities. Definitely a major inn as well. Traditional inns are a big thing. I didn't get to stay in a traditional inn, but though some of my friends did, and they loved the experience of how much culture and this, you see everything in the anime, and then when you actually do it, it's amazing. What I got to do though was rent a house in Kyoto with some of my friends. We rented a house, which was a super cool experience. Got to sleep on futons and just overall have an entire house to ourselves. It was one of the coolest experiences of my life, being able to rent a house out in Japan. So I definitely recommend just checking out some places to stay. Now the big thing of that I was talking about earlier, my biggest emergency, I got robbed in Tokyo, specifically Shinjuku. Now I want to give this warning: just because you are of age to drink, which in Japan the drinking age is 20. When I got on the plane, I turned 20. I do not recommend drinking past your limit. um your currency, if you're coming from the US, our currency is stronger than Japan's currency. So especially if you're turning of age, alcohol is relatively cheap. You're able to get 7 to 8% cans this tall, um for about $1.10 at 7-Eleven or any combini or convenience store. So it can kind of entice you to overdo it. I really recommend finding your limit and making sure you don't go past your limit and being safe and responsible when you're drinking. um that is something I did not do, and I ended up going out clubbing with friends. I got too intoxicated and I had my belongings taken because I was not aware of my belongings because I was so inebriated. So a big thing, they robbed my wallet. At that time my wallet and my all of my cards was on the back of my phone, so they took my phone and basically my wallet in one, my AirPods, and yeah, so I was without a phone with all of my Apple Wallet, and I was without an actual wallet with my ID cards, everything on it, my Japanese ID, everything that you need to not get stopped and go to jail in Japan. That was basically all took. So when things don't go as planned, this is basically what that slide is about. Not every part of studying abroad will be perfect. During my experience, several important belongings were stolen, creating an unexpected situation that I had to navigate while living thousands of miles away from home. The experience required me to remain calm, protect my financial accounts, communicate with available support systems, report what happened, and find temporary solutions while continuing my experience abroad. So basically, for my last 2 weeks in Japan, I was without funds in any way and without a phone and any ID. Uh, the good thing is I built a support system, and how I used that word earlier, an ecosystem of not just my program, but also peers in that program. So I had a lot of friends that were able to kind of assist me and basically give me a life jacket to kind of help me for those last 2 weeks, by being able, where my family sends them money and they kind of take it out of the ATMs, and I have cash on me and things like that. But I just recommend avoiding this, avoiding this at all costs. Honestly, just be aware of your surroundings. Do not drink past your limits or go in places that you feel uncomfortable in. And just always be aware. The biggest thing is your safety and making sure that you are safe and that you're secure so that you can have a good study abroad experience. This is something I still had an overall good experience. This is just something that kind of gave me a life lesson on where I needed to improve in. So yes, that I did get robbed in Tokyo, one of the really the safest. Other than that, I wasn't hurt. I wasn't physically hurt at all. They just pickpocketed me basically. And yeah. So one for the books. I got robbed in one of the safest countries, which it, other than this, it is the safest country. I completely different from New York. But to kind of wrap up this entire video, I hope this was able to help. And a big reason that I was able to do this study abroad, I have to give all love and a shout out to the Gilman Scholarship. They gave me the funds and allowed me to tell my story. And they believed in me and invested in me, and they're the reason that I was able to study abroad financially. Just to go over a little bit about them, why Gilman matters. Finances should not automatically eliminate studying abroad as an option. Scholarships from the Gilman Scholarship can help students transform an international experience from an idea into an achievable goal, which they did for me. It allowed me to cover pocket money, flights, dormitories, and just so much. It covers so much that if I did not get that scholarship, I don't think I would be able to go. My application advice for the Gilman Scholarship: start early. Definitely give yourself enough time to research the program and develop strong essays. There will be many essays that Gilman will have you write and submit, just because they need to get to know you. They need to understand why you are wanting to go where you want to go. Who are you? What would this experience do for you? How will you pass this experience onward, like I'm doing now with you guys? And you know, kind of just understanding who you are as a person and who they're investing in, and what seed they're planting. But as I said before, we are all different, and I told my story, and that is how I was able to be a recipient of the Gilman Scholarship. So definitely, I emphasize, tell your story. Nobody else has your life. Nobody else has been through your experiences like you, from your point of view and your perspective. There is only one you. So explain why the country and the program and, you know, this experience, what matters specifically to you, and how that will propel you forward academically and your career and just your personal development. Tell your story. That's what makes you stand apart from your grades, from where you work, from certain things that you've done, just who you are. But another big thing, as I said before, basically connected to your future. Explain how these things will help you in the future grow as a person, so they can understand how investing in you will sprout into a beautiful flower. Lastly, use your resources. As I said before, use your resources. A lot of people do not use their resources, and a lot of aid go to waste, and they leave stones unturned, you know. So ask study abroad advisors, your professors, writing centers, mentors to review your applications, to reread and proofread your papers, your essays, because you will have to write a lot of them. And just speak to anybody who's able to help and listen and give their, you know, professional advice. Everybody on your campus is there to help you. They want you to succeed, but as my grandmother once said, closed mouths don't get fed on this boulevard, you know. So if you don't look for it or ask for help, nobody will be able to help you. And to kind of tie into that, as my truly last thing, don't reject yourself before they had the opportunity to say yes. You never know where you will get a yes from. You never know who's reading your story, who may relate to it, who may be inspired by it or moved. So don't reject yourself by not applying to scholarships, by not applying to things, by saying no before the people that have the ability to help you say yes. Always put yourself out there and receive a no from them first. And even when you receive a no, find somebody else. You know, don't reject yourself before you starting your path, because if I did, I wouldn't have been able to travel to Japan and do what I did, and go from sitting here in my room watching YouTube videos to being 10,000 miles across the sea, experiencing a whole different country. And it's something I will have for the rest of my life. These memories are memories I'll be able to tell my children, bring into my work environment. They've made me more diverse and improve how I adapt to situations, and just change me overall who I am as a person. So believe in yourself and never count yourself out. But thank you for coming here and watching this video. I know this was a little all over the place. I do apologize, but I hope this was able to help at least one person. And if it was, that's all I was hoping for. But thank you so much, guys. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you're able to study abroad. And if anybody is able to, definitely leave that down in the comments. I'll leave links to the Gilman Scholarship where you can apply in the comments. And good luck, everybody, and Godspeed.